My lovelies, I'm back, and this time I've got gadgets, ladies. I thought you might like to see what are my favourite things to use when I'm sewing. Don't worry about the little camera here, that's so you can come nice and close up and have a good old nosy in just 1 second. I'm sure you've got lots of your favourites as well, but I'm going to tell you what mine are. If you want to know where to get any of them, just drop me a little email. The address should be on the screen now. Right. First things first, I absolutely hate it when I can't find a bobbin to match the thread I'm using. So much so that I'll actually have an afternoon, pick a nice rainy one, and I will make my bobbins. So I've actually got an extra case of empty bobbins. What I do, I fill them up whenever I buy a new thread, and these are amazing. This is a bobbin holder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my, pick my bobbin that matches my thread, pop the bobbin on, get my thread spool, push it in the top. Now when I go to my drawer to get my flamingo pink thread, I already know I've got a bobbin and it's attached. Happy days. So that's number one. Number two is a present from my dad, who actually buys me the best ever crafting gifts. These are my trusty pinking shears. There's a little tip in our videos. If you're on Facebook, by the way, the videos are going to be somewhere above me. There's a little tip on there. I talk a lot about clipping curves when we sew curves, especially around Dolly's head, around her armpits, around her hands. It's a little bit unsightly, but I picked up a tip from a Russian blogger that if you use pinking shears to cut into the seam allowance to go around the corner, I don't know if you can see that very well, but it actually catches? I've invented a new word. It actually cuts a series of notches that give you a really, really beautiful and crisp curve. So that's my little hack. That's my second favourite tool. My third is a bias binder maker. You may have come across them. These are absolutely essential. Really good for quilting. Really hard to get into, as you can see. Right, so what this kit has is different sized fluted metal, I don't know what you call them. My daughter would call them majiggers. And what you do is you cut your piece of fabric on the bias. Here's one I made earlier. And all we do is going to slot this end into the bias binder maker till it comes out the other end. Do you see that? It's popped out the other end. There we go. Extend the handle, and then I haven't plugged it in because do not want to burn Dolly Towers down. All we do is put a nice iron there, hold some pressure, and away you go. You can give that a nice good iron. Keep the iron quite, turn it around for you. Keep the iron quite close to the tip, and off you go. Not working very well on this board. Obviously, do it on your ironing board, you'll be much better at it. I use bias binding a lot on Dolly Patterns because I just think it gives an absolutely beautiful edge. It also helps to hide the seams. Because Dolly's clothes are quite small, instead of having double rolled hems around the cuffs where it's fiddly, quite often I'll bind the edges so that it's not quite so much of a chore. Also, if you are gifting to a child, the bias binding edges makes it a little bit more robust. They're going to get a lot more play out of it, and you don't have to worry about it falling apart, which is always good. Fourth tool, absolutely essential. Let me move my T so you can see that a bit better. Long nose pliers. These are probably my best friends when I'm sewing because I have the scourge of the Lawrence family. Chubby, stubby, little fat fingers. Not so great. Sorry, my mum's in the corner laughing. She knows what it's all about. Not so great for doing fiddly things. Not so great for getting in under the machine foot particularly. What I'll do if things are moving around a little bit is I'll actually pinch the fabric together as though it was my fingers, run it into the machine, put the foot down, and it's just like a very delicate extension of my fingers really. I use it a lot for turning out corners of things, pulling things, threading needles. They're actually really, really invaluable. I would get yourself, if you get nothing else today, I'd get yourself a pair of these. Obviously, if you're going to put it under your machine foot, take your foot off the pedal, switch the power off. If you accidentally sew through that, don't come crying to me. You've been warned. And then everybody asks me about my crochet pincushion. I made this myself. I found the pattern on Pinterest, actually, as it happens. And I just think it's the cutest thing. You put your needles in for the spines. It's really, really good fun. And why shouldn't sewing gadgets be fun?